Hey guys, today I'd love to bring you my first episode of the Duelist podcast. So today I'd like to talk about improving your game. What are some techniques and tips that you could use to improve the way you play whatever card game it is, whether it's Dragon Ball Super, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I want to say that this series is more general. Obviously, each game has its own niches with the best way to play cards or stuff of that nature. But today, I just want to give one general tip that I like to use from my experience with playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card game and the Dragon Ball Super card game. So today, I would like to talk about the importance of using a notebook. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why would I need a notebook? And, in a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, it makes a little more sense because, for sanctioned Konami events or ARG events, everyone always says pen and paper, write down life points. In Konami events, you can't take notes during your matches, but in ARG events, I believe you can. I could be mistaken. I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in a while. But what I would do when I would ever play at a YCS or a regional, I would pull out my phone every round, write my matchups. I played X, Y, and Z for round 1, 2, 3, and 4. As just keep my memory fresh about what I played throughout the day. And every round, I try to remember key moments of the game where things went right and things went wrong for me. And obviously there's things like blowouts. That stuff happens, but there's moments in matches where there's learning lessons. And that's one thing that I found out very quickly from my playing experience. How was I going to get better at playing any card game? Yu-Gi-Oh! Or me currently, I like to play Dragon Ball. Because for me, someone that's like a competitive person, I don't want to show up to locals, show up to a regional, OYCS, or any big event, an ARG, and do awful. Drop after the third round, you haven't won a match, and you're paying bottom tables from here on out. What I started doing, and it paid huge dividends, for technical play, deck building, and my overall thought process for card games was taking notes after the game, talking to my buddies and my teammates. X, Y, and Z happened in the match. One example that I would like to use for today would be YCS San Diego. I played a deck called Pendulum Magicians. If you're tuning in from a non-Yu-Gi-Oh background, then that's why I qualify things like this. Again, this video is a little weird to make because I really want to speak in general terms, but I feel like this would be an easy antidote as I do have more experience playing Yu-Gi-Oh than Dragon Ball. So later on, hopefully I'll have more examples for that. But back to my example. Show up Friday night, had not tested the deck at all. I knew it was a good choice. I felt that because of the ban list, Pendulum Magicians was a pretty decent choice to play for the event, although looking back, I really felt Spiral was the most dominant deck. Neither here nor there. Let's talk about the event. So in the event, I played 8 rounds of the mirror match, 1 Spiral deck, and 1 60 card invoked Infernoid deck. So those are my matchups, and I had very minimal experience playing the mirror match. But the thing that helped me was, I talked to a lot of my teammates, and, we main deck cards that were just blowouts in the mirror match, such as, for those Yu-Gi-Oh players, we main deck Wavering Eyes for the event. And, stuff like that really helped me, in my first 2 to 3 mirror matches where I wouldn't say that I played less skilled players because I don't think that was true at all. I felt that every mirror match that I played at YCS San Diego was of high caliber. I learned something new in every matchup, whether it was, different interactions with Astrograph Sorcerer or different combo strings that you could use with the deck. There's always something new that I learned from round 1 to round 10, different interactions and different positions. And every single round I wrote on my phone, once it finished, I learned this today, or I learned this round. New interaction. What were the pivotal moments of the game? What caused me to lose advantage? What caused me to gain advantage? Where did the momentum swing? Questions that, if you really want to get better at a game, you have to ask yourself. You have to be open to looking at it honestly. There's just no other way around it. Being able to take notes, writing down just important information that you noticed in the match. Because when you play a big tournament that's, 2 days long, 12 rounds, 10 rounds, there's a lot of information that's going on that could just be completely flying over your head. And why not take the opportunity? You're already there. For me, I really felt that there's always something that you can gain from an experience. Regardless if you do well or bad. If anything, preferably when you do poorly at an event. What did you do wrong? And at your next event, compare your results. That's another thing too. If you take notes, and if you take notes honestly, you have a good metric of determining your progress. Maybe this last month, I only got top 8 at a local once. But next month, I noticed I had 3 top 8s at locals. I noticed that I started doing things differently. And for me, that turning point in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where I started to see myself do better at the local scene. I want to say it was... So yeah, I definitely started doing well once the Pendulum Magicians came out. Way back when the Necros cards were hit, Cosmos were just out. Around that time, that's when I really started to get, top 4, second place, first place, consistently at locals. And when I was really on my grind at that time, because I barely started playing the card games, I want to say in 2016 or 2015. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball, I've honestly only been doing this for, 2 years. And I really wanted to do better at the game. And I really asked myself, why am I doing so poorly? Obviously I don't have access to every card that I'd possibly want, but I don't want to make excuses for myself. I did so bad. And I'm definitely not saying, I just had a bad day. I drew very poorly every single round. That does happen, but at a certain point, you have to take account of that. Why does your deck keep breaking? Are you deck building poorly? That's another thing about note taking. I really feel that to get better at a card game, you have to be honest with your actions. And if you do take notes, after rounds or at the end of a tournament, what was the highlight? Did you learn a new combo string as you played? Did you test new cards out? That's another important one. For me, when I play locals, it's completely just for testing. At this point, when I play a card game, I typically know what's the meta, what do the meta decks look like, what are ratios. I know all of that stuff. So for me, when I play a local, I just want to see how do X, Y, and Z ratios work? Does this tech choice work? Or maybe just playing a whole new deck that I never played before. Because for me, I do my homework, I do my research, what are the best decks right now? So that's not a problem, Technical play and those other things, I have testing sessions for that. That's different. But I feel when you're actually at, organized tournaments, a big advice that I love to give people is take notes. you're already here. So, and like the honest thing about taking notes is, there's no excuses at that point. You can't say, oh, well, I just got sacked. I lost unfairly. Like, no, there's sometimes that happens, but I don't think that's for every case. And there's a learning lesson in every match you play. Even if you do brick terribly, maybe that's saying something about your choices in your deck building, or maybe you're not shuffling your deck properly, and many issues occur of that. You have to look at that honestly and objectively and say, hey, how can I improve? At one point, it's important to say, hey, I'm winning every single locals I'm going to, and this is great. So why am I winning? Is it my tech choices? Is it my technical play? Am I not playing the best players? Like, these are all questions that you have to ask yourself. And it's really something that I feel like, from what I've seen, a lot of players don't do. And, this is not to knock anyone. It's just, for me, when I see, people play card games competitively, I don't understand why someone wouldn't do it. Like, for someone that's, a casual at a card game, I understand that you just want to have fun. You don't really care about metagame analysis or technical play analysis. Like, that stuff isn't important to you. But, for people that are serious about, taking any game competitively, I really feel like the starting point, before you look into technical play, before you look into, deck building analysis, just start off with a question, how am I doing in my matches? What's going on in my matches? Can I identify key points? What am I doing well? What am I doing poorly? This is all a bunch of things that, you could just take 5 minutes after a match, when you're waiting for pairings to be up. Take quick notes on your phone, then later go home, write about it in a book. Or, maybe you learned a new combo and it's absolutely broken. Great, fantastic. What better way to remember it than doing it 1,000 times and writing it down? So, like, for me, best believe I do it for every ARG, every regional. If I were to play another YCS, every YCS. If I were to go to a nationals, I would take, highly descriptive notes of where did things go wrong, where did things go right, what did I like about my deck, what did I not like about my deck, Like, you could be so in love with your deck before a tournament, but when you go into it and you play, 10 rounds, you realize, wow, this wasn't as good as I thought it was. And, some people learn that really quickly. And that's fine too. But the only way to improve at anything is to be objective and to call out your weaknesses. So for me, it was a long process, and I'm still in the process of getting better. I'm not a perfect player. I'm still working on getting tops under my resume, and that's fine. It's a process. These things don't happen overnight, but they do get easier and much more manageable to do if you take notes. So if there's anything that you enjoyed with this podcast, please leave it down in the comments. What are some things that you do to improve your gameplay when it comes to card games? If there's any other tips, or if you'd like to see more of these podcasts, please leave a like on the video. As for me, I just want to produce as much content as possible for you guys, and I really feel like this is something that I love to talk about. Thank you for hearing me out today. I hope this tip helps, and have a great day.